Josh Hewitt from YourGymTrainer.com. This is the first episode of Ask Your Gym Trainer. This is where we answer your questions that you post on our Facebook page, Twitter, right here on YouTube, and we try to get to as many of your questions as possible, either answering them directly on Facebook or producing a video like we're doing today. Now, we've been getting hundreds of questions on our Facebook page, and we're trying to get back to you. Steve and I are trying to answer your questions individually as best as we can, but we thought we'd kill like 100 birds with one stone by posting a couple of videos that cover as many of the main topics that you're asking about as possible in the video. And so the two main areas of focus that you guys have been asking us about are how to build muscle and how to lose fat. Big surprise, right? So what I'm going to be talking about tonight is how to put on muscle mass. And we're going to go through a few of the factors that contribute to building muscle and how you can apply those in your workouts. So a lot of the questions we've been getting on Facebook related to building muscle have been asking about specific muscle groups, like how do I build a bigger chest, how do I get my arms to grow. We'll be making videos on each of those specific topics down the road, but to get into that, first you've got to understand what are the factors that make muscles grow and how do you apply them. To start with, let's look at how muscle fibers actually grow. There's contractile hypertrophy, which is also known as myofibrillar hypertrophy, and then there's sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, and that's sort of what's referred to commonly as the pump. So with contractile hypertrophy, you're actually getting the breakdown and the growth of muscle fibers. Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy is actually like the volumization of the muscles by glycogen storage and other factors. So what are the three factors that lead to that muscle growth? These are the three factors that you want to incorporate in your workouts. Progressive tension overload. This is basically the tension or resistance that your muscles are exposed to. And you want to gradually increase this tension, progressively increase this over a period of weeks and months, so that your muscles are subjected to new stress, which forces them to adapt and to grow. Muscular microdamage. Now this is the tearing down, the small micro tears that you get in a muscle fiber from intense training. And this leads to a recovery and repair of the muscle fibers, which leads to growth as well. However, that is not the only factor that is necessary to cause muscle growth. So let's look at factor number 3, metabolic stress. And this is typically from the high volume training where you'll get that pump effect, you'll get that lactic acid build up in the muscles, and that will release all sorts of other growth factors, IGF-1, growth hormone, in response to that metabolic distress on the muscles. And this is where typically the higher rep ranges will come into play. Now of course you don't want to neglect nutrition if your goal is to build muscle. You need to be in a slight caloric surplus in order to add more lean tissue to your body. And you want to make sure you're getting enough protein. I generally recommend about 1 gram of protein for every pound of your lean body weight daily. Also, carbohydrates are necessary to help volumize muscle cells, store as much glycogen in them as you can, and maximize your strength and energy output during a workout. You don't want to be on a low carbohydrate diet when you're trying to build muscle, that's for sure. So in my recommendations, you use MyFitnessPal or some other online journal to track your calories and try and aim for a slight caloric surplus, and then aim for your 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, and the remainder of your calories are made up with carbs and fat. Just don't get your carbs too low, especially on the days that you're training. So all of this is great, but how do you apply it in your workouts? Well, there are a few things to take into consideration. One is your exercise selection. You want to generally choose multi-joint compound exercises, big pressing and pulling movements that use several muscle groups together. That's like a big push movement, the chest press, a rowing movement, pull down or chin up, overhead pressing, squats and deadlifts for your lower body. But you also want to pay attention to your form in these exercises. Although you do want to be progressively increasing the tension that your muscles are exposed to, you want to make sure that this is continuous tension. So you're not bouncing or jerking the repetitions, you're not pausing midway through a set. Try to maintain continuous tension through the positive and the negative of each repetition, the concentric and eccentric phase. Now what about sets and reps? Well, in general, you want to be using a repetition range between 6 and 12 repetitions, although in some cases, higher repetitions or lower may be warranted. That's a pretty good range to try to fatigue yourself within and maintain continuous tension within 6 to 12 repetitions. As far as the number of sets, you want to progressively not only introduce yourself to more tension over time, but also progressively increase the volume of your workout. So this might mean adding another set to each exercise, increasing the repetitions after a certain point, and by also increasing the frequency of your workouts. If you can train each muscle group you're targeting twice a week instead of just once a week, you will elicit quicker muscle growth, given that you're allowing for enough sleep and recovery. Adequate sleep is also necessary to maximize muscle growth. 7 to 9 hours is generally a good guideline as long as you're getting quality sleep. Now, if you've been training for a while and you want to increase the intensity of your workouts to really stimulate new growth, there are a few high-intensity training techniques that you can start to employ sparingly because it does require a lot more recovery, such as drop sets, partial repetitions, eccentric training, assisted repetitions, etc. Okay, so let's quickly review what we learned.
You want to practice progressive overload. That's gradually increasing the tension your muscles are exposed to, using compound multi-joint exercises in the 6 to 12 repetition range, using strict form with continuous tension and a full range of motion. You want to focus on increased volume and frequency. I also recommend that you try to take your last set of an exercise very close to complete fatigue. At that point, you can also incorporate a set extension using some of the high-intensity training techniques that we discussed. Just make sure you're paying attention to your recovery, by getting enough sleep and proper nutrition.
Okay, so that's a few things to remember, but fortunately for you, we've included all of this information in a free ebook, and I posted the link down below in the description section that you can go and download right away. This covers not only all of the factors we've talked about, it also includes a basic program that you can start following, basic anabolic hypertrophy training, but I also wanted you to understand the theory behind this so you can incorporate these elements into your own workouts down the road and keep getting gains no matter what program you're following. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure you give it a like. Also, check out our website down below